Alright guys, for the final video of today, because I am extremely tired, going to take a look at the tags, Super Saiyan 4 guys, and see what's up with them. And I've heard nothing but good things and a little bit of bad things. And for my overall opinion, after looking at other content creators' videos and the video Toshi put out explaining them, the one thing that I've been seeing or hearing is a lot of players are kind of concerned with how they'll function after the boost system. And as you know, the boost system can make a unit feel a little bit overrated, and it can also make underrated units feel, I guess, good, you know, depending on where they're placed once they got knocked off the system. And for me personally, I don't think this will be the case for these guys because, I mean, again, it's really hard to explain it because we don't know what they're going to look like after the boost system. And personally, I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like the boost system because of how it works. And again, like I said earlier, it makes the unit feel overrated, and it also makes units feel underrated but good enough to be used again depending on where they're placed. And luckily for me, after I went back into the banner and got 17 up to 6 stars, I managed to pull another copy of them, so now they're at 6 stars. And you know, stats wise, it's good, and it's not like in a bad way, because if you think about it, I want to say units that don't really have high offensive powers really, you know, rely on their kits. And I do think that this unit here relies heavily on their kit as much as they rely on the boost system. So that's why I feel like when these guys get off the boost system, they will still be good enough to where they will be a threat in the long run. And I know there's a lot of, you know, talks going around which side is better, which side do you prefer. Personally speaking, I don't really think none of that matters, honestly. I guess if you guys have a personal preference of who's better, I mean, that's pretty much up to you. I think they're equal because as a tag unit, they're supposed to be equal, you know what I mean? Like, they're not supposed to be divided. You're not supposed to say, oh, this Goku side is better than the Vegeta side, or vice versa. It wouldn't make sense to say that, you know what I mean? So overall, I do think that what these guys are capable of doing will actually keep them around in the long run. And I don't feel like they'll feel, excuse me, let me work that again. I don't feel like they will have the same downfall as the Blue Boys, because again, a lot of units do tend to fall off, and a lot of units do tend to get replaced. And I do run into the Blue Boys a little bit here and there, so I can't really say that these guys, excuse me, will fall off. I don't really think that they will. I think that they will have a long-lasting impression, or whatever you want to say, on the meta, because I don't know. Again, it's still too early to judge how they'll function off the boost system. So the team is simple. It's going to be GT, and unfortunately, I do not have Super Saiyan 4 Zenkai LF Goku because I just wasn't able to get him. Oh, excuse me, wasn't able to pull him. But you know, free-to-play 17 is still good enough to use, and I'm also going to be running the free-to-play Goku as well as Hellfighter 17 because he's starting to grow on me. But yeah, I do think they'll be fine. I think they'll be okay. So with all that said, let's just jump right into it and see if what I said holds true. So after all that, honestly, I'm still up in the air. I'm still up in the air with this. I don't really know how they'll work after the boost system because, again, this is a unit that's not heavily relied on their stats to carry them, more so their kits. Now, like I said, the boost system can make units feel a little overrated, and it can also make units feel underrated depending on where they're placed after they got knocked off the boost system. So for these guys here, I will say yes, you might want to invest a little bit more CC into them, and I think a good placement for them is like me, having them at 6 stars and up, because if you just basically one and done these guys and maybe you have enough multi-Z power to get them up to 4 stars or however much you have, that's still good. But if you have them at 3 stars after the boost system, then I can kind of see the argument that these guys will actually have an issue in the long run. But 6 and up would definitely help them in the long run after the boost system. But overall, like I said, I am up in the air. I can't really decide whether or not these guys will actually have a hard time picking themselves up after the boost system. I keep saying that, I'm sorry. But that's just me and my opinion. So if you have something different, let me know down in the comments below. But overall, I like these guys. They're a really, really fun unit. And I want to end this off by saying this banner is strictly made for GT mains. And if you are a GT main, this is probably your time to shine. And I can guarantee you that if this whole festival is going to be GT related, they desperately could use a revival unit. But I don't want them to have a revival unit because, again, we don't know what part 2 is going to hold, if it's going to be, you know, GT related. But to me personally, this is a really good banner. I would say yes, you can go all out and summon on it, and I would say you can save CC, because I'm pretty sure this banner will still be up by the time, you know, part 2 happens, or if there is a part 2 or part 3, we don't know. I'm sold on it being 2 parts because, you know, why would they extend it onto the new year? But for me, you know, I think this is a really good banner for anybody that wants to summon. I wouldn't skip out on this, and if you do summon, I would say for every single unit that you get, for all the new units from Goku, Vegeta, 17 and 18, Omega Shenron, and Oob, you want them to be at bare minimum 6 stars or up for them to really feel or seem impressive. And the day they get knocked off the boost system, they'll still be able to hold their own with whatever equipment you have on them and whatever team you have on them. Because, again, the boost system is not something to take out of consideration. It's something that you really got to pay attention to because, again, we don't know. And the boost system is just a really wonky mechanic to have in the game as it stands. But I'm just rambling, and with all that said, peace.